What's up, guys? I'm Chris. Welcome to PHP Engines. So, I know it feels like forever since fucking the last time we spoke, and the last, handful of videos that got tossed out there weren't really that great. Um, but anybody that knows that's been around here for a long time, watched the channel for a while, realizes that I do have these slumps where I go down for a while, I disappear for a little bit, and then I come back. I usually throw a bunch of shit at your face at one time. Then I go away for a while and come back and the same shit, rinse and repeat. It's just that it's kind of difficult to keep with regular updates on a channel, being the nature of the channel the way it is. It's mainly focused on different discussion videos, and if I don't really have anything to talk about because people aren't asking the right kind of questions, then I just don't really have content to put up. As far as some of you guys know, recently I've been dealing with my truck and the fucking Integra, and I had to fucking reorder parts again. The parts all did come in over this past week, and then I had to go get some more tools for the truck. And what it came down to is just time. I'm really hard pressed to do shit on the weekends, and if I don't get into the fucking good rhythm on the weekend, then shit just doesn't get done. Saturday I kind of used it was supposed to be like a family get together day, and then that kind of rolled into today, which wound up with one of my daughters going out to the hospital and all that shit. So shit just didn't get done. Even this video right now, I'm kind of using it as a cheat for a channel update because I know we've got a big influx of subscribers since the last time I made a video. So just a quick update for you guys that are new and what's going on. Also, this topic today, as you know by now, is about tools. It's for you guys that for younger dudes mainly, or people who don't have any professional experience in the maintenance field, how to go about getting tools, what tools to buy, all that shit. And then I got another video that's gonna be that I was gonna do like a live stream for, but I think I'm gonna do a video separately for it, and then use that topic to kind of move into a live stream because I kind of realized that taking questions live as I'm trying to discuss it is not gonna work out too well. So anyway, main topic here, tools. There's the most obvious thing that's in front of everybody. You go to the little generic places, or you go to get a Craftsman set or whatever. I think as far as tool goes, if you really want to buy tool sets for a good price, I think everybody knows it's Harbor Freight. Now you get what you pay for with Harbor Freight. So buying your basic tool sets, sockets, wrenches, ratchets, shit like that. That's a great place to go to buy shit like that. The more demand you need from the tool, the more you got to really kind of take a second look at. I've got my cherry pickers from Harbor Freight. It's a $100 one. I've used it for years. I swear by that. I will keep doing that. You keep swearing by that. My engine stands were both from Harbor Freight. Let's see, my press is the only heavy duty tool I have from Harbor Freight that I'm not pleased with. It's the new one I have is doing the exact same shit my old one did, where it doesn't hold together well. Once you start putting it under a strain, it either tilts this way or tilts that way. And sometimes, or most times when you're pressing with this fucking thing, it's a very delicate shit. You need power, generate a lot of force to get what you're driven through, but you also need it to drive straight. And if the fucking shit is tilting this way or that way, then that's a good way to fuck shit up. I'm still thinking that might be a possibility played into the fact of fucking up the bearings or the hub assembly. But anyway, that's I guess I'll find out here soon enough when I get to pressing the new hubs in again. They're trying again. So yeah, like a lot of the hand tools, your basic shit that you need to get started. I've been asked a couple times like what tools you need, and I think if you watch my fucking engine assembly videos, you pretty much see everything I need or you use to break an engine down and reassemble one. I think the last time I talked to somebody about tools, I was like, you need a hone tool, a hone tool, a torque wrench, and I think maybe one other thing, but I didn't give a good enough detail of it. The majority of shit is, for specialty wise, you do need a hone tool. You need to be able to hone. You need a straight edge because you need to be able to check the deck, the straightness of the deck, and you also need to be able to check the straightness of your head. So a hone, the straight edge. You need a torque wrench. You're not building a fucking engine without a torque wrench. And also, you need, I would say, you need the piston ring. Well, you don't probably have to have piston ring pliers, but You definitely risk breaking them if you don't, and they're a really cheap tool to buy. You can pick one up at the auto parts for a couple dollars. Piston ring pliers. You need to be able to hold open the first and second compression ring, and you also need a compression tool, and that's what it was. I forgot to say. You need a piston ring compression tool, and in my last, I think one of my last build videos, I talked about the differences between the generic one where you kind of like put it on and twist it until it tightens up, and the one where you clamp it. I prefer the clamp style over the twisty when you get the generic, but I've used either or. You know, I prefer the clamp. And then there's also the ones you can have if you got money to spend. The one that's where it's just like it's already to a preset size, and you just slip it in there and it goes. I would love to have those, but I'm just too damn cheap to buy them. And, you know, I have multiple versions already. Why would I buy a third at this point? Unless I'm just trying to spend money. Like recently, if you guys follow me on a Snapchat or whatnot, or you're checking me out on Facebook, I bit the bullet and bought another Snap-on torque wrench, which is going to lead me into talking about buying the heavy tools. You know, you look at Snap-on, Matco, Mac, these big brands, and you're like, holy fuck, this shit's fucking retarded expensive. I can never afford that. Well, it's a yes and no. See, these big companies, they understand that their fucking tools are insanely high on the price. So what they do is they set you up with these mobile franchises, these guys that run these tool trucks, and they will set you up on payments. And unless you cross, I think it might be around $3,000 or $4,000, you don't have interest payments. So you can set up an account with these tool truck guys and pay as you go weekly, or you can pay monthly with no interest. And that, you know, your $200 or $300 tool set that you thought was like holy fuck now just became something that's manageable, and it's something that you definitely would, you know, it's definitely worth doing. For the people who do or who are professional mechanics or have worked in a shop, there's an extremely well chance, especially in the city, extremely good chance that you have visited a tool truck. Now, for you younger guys that are looking to get some of these heavier duty tools, like even if you go to Harbor Freight, some of these air impact guns or these big impact guns are a couple $100s. So at that point, I would recommend you getting with a tool truck guy, getting an account set up, because you got that, the big tool trucks got those guaranteed warranty for lifetime, repairs for lifetime, all that shit. Like if you break something, they'll give you something right away to replace it, or they'll send it out, or you have a replacement sent in for you. If something or something's worn out, even you can get replacements for it and shit like that. It's a great fallback to have. Now the reason why I bought my Snap-on torque wrench is because I've had my Matco for a long time, and you should have your torque wrench sent out to be calibrated ever so often. I would say at least once a year to get it checked out to make sure you're spot on with your torque, what you're using for your torque wrench is accurate. Now, I've been using mine for a long time. I've owned mine for a long time. Been using it for 2 or 3 years. And, I haven't had a fuck tons of builds with it. A couple dozen builds under it. So I didn't think that the demand on my torque wrench was high enough where I had to worry about not having it calibrated. But it was starting to be like a nagging issue in the back of my head. I need to have this checked out. And then not too long ago, something happened, and I fucked up. It was one of those torque wrenches where it clicks, like you have to spin to click it. And then there's a lock ring on it where you turn the lock ring and it locks it in place, so when you're using it, when you're putting your effort into there, it doesn't slide off the torque that you set it to. So that broke on my torque wrench. Now I have been, of course I just keep a steady hand. I make sure I pay attention, and my torque has never slipped on me. But that, on top of the fact that I haven't had it calibrated, it kind of made me really start thinking about buying another torque wrench. And it's not something I wanted to go to the auto parts and buy. I didn't want to buy an auto parts torque wrench. Didn't want to go to Harbor Freight to buy one of those. It's the most important tool that you're going to use in engine building, and I did not want to get something that I would have any doubt in. Last thing I want is to have a fucking bearing spin on me, or have something have a problem, or a head gasket pops, and I'm wondering, was the torque right? So I bought the Snap-on because Matco, I haven't seen a Matco truck since I worked at a dealership back in 2014 or 2015, whichever, yeah, 2015. So that's kind of a problem for me, and so that means I either have to call Matco, the big Matco company, and get a shipping set up and send it out and wait for it to come back, or I can be lazy and spend the money, buy the Snap-on torque wrench, because Snap-on trucks are everywhere. These guys are everywhere. I've never had a problem with finding those guys. And then if, once a year, I'm like, hey, send it out to have it calibrated for me. And I'll do that. That's great. So I just said, fuck it. And I bought the fucking $300 some fucking torque wrench. And so that way now I'll be able to have it annually sent out and calibrated, and I won't have to worry about that shit in the back of my mind. And now, like what happened with my Matco fucking torque wrench, if something gets damaged on it, I can have it repaired. So what I'm thinking about doing is for my next build, which is going to be fucking soon, that I'm gonna torque everything with a snap-on wrench, and I'm gonna double check with the Matco to make sure that the Matco is still in calibration. And if it is, I'm probably gonna post it for sale somewhere. So yeah, there's that. And so I went on a little bit there telling a story. The whole point is, it was to inform some of you younger guys who want to buy quality tools but don't know how to do it, don't know how to find a snap-on truck or a Matco truck or whatever the fuck that you prefer or would like to go with for brand. Me personally, I like to go with Snap-on, just because, like what the story I just told you, Snap-on is everywhere. These guys are all over the place. They're like fucking they're like cockroaches in a crack house. You can always find them, and it's a guaranteed thing. The other guys, the other brands aren't as popular as Snap-on, man. So I get all my specialty tools go through Snap-on. So the trick is these guys they're going to push you to sell, because the more shit they're selling you, of course, the more they're making money. And of course, it sounds pretty good when you already have an account and you're like, well, we can add this to it, to your account. It'll only make your payment go up like $1 or something like that. And then you're thinking about short term, like, yeah, it's great. Next thing you know, you have a fucking huge ass bill that you're paying for the rest of your life. So the thing is, though, the big thing I always tell people, like, who are gonna go to a truck for the first time is, like, as long as you don't let them talk you into buying a toolbox, you should be good. Because if you go and you buy like a couple of sets of wrenches or something, like high-end wrenches, $200-$300, it won't take you that long to pay that off. But if you go and you buy a toolbox, like about $8,000, that's a long fucking time to be paying $40 a week. So what I would recommend is how you would buy tools. What I recommend is, like, especially if you're just buying tools specifically. If you're not just buying tools because, hey, I want to have a bunch of tools, then you're buying shit specifically. You don't really need to buy a lot of shit. And a lot of times I buy tools as needed. Like, I'm not going to go out and, I could use that someday, and buy it and then wait 2 years to get one use out of it and then never fuck with it again. So I wait till I need something and then I get it and then add to my little collection. So what I do is all my basic tools I would buy cheap, and then all my specialty tools I get through Snap-on because they're more expensive and I can handle it better with a payment, plus it's better quality. Me personally, I got a kind of like a head start. I mentioned before that I was in school for 3 months in El Paso, and in that 3 months I had like a tool cart for Matco that was loaded with Matco tools. When I dropped from the school, I took my fucking tool cart with me. GI Bill paid for that shit, so goddamn right I was checking out that fucking box. So I got lucky enough to where when I started like to have a legit, need for tools, I had a pretty good basic set to go off of. But ever since I've added to that set, it's either been Harbor Freight, Blue Point, or Snap-on. Blue Point is like a subsidy of fucking Snap-on, so it's damn near the same shit. So so I guess that's pretty much it. As far as what I was going to talk about for the next video is, I mentioned this before, like how you guys would feel about doing like a live question and answering for you people that don't have a formal education in maintenance but want to get involved. And I will stress again that I do not have a formal education in maintenance. I have been to school for regular automotive shit. Lasted 3 months. One of those months was in a fucking algebra class, and the other 2 months were complete fucking jerking each other off in the fucking corner. It was terrible. That's why I dropped. It wasn't worth doing. It wasn't worth spending the GI Bill on. And then I guess the second formal training I had was from the Army, which any of you guys out there know, like schooling, AIT. If any of you guys out there fucking Army mechanics, that it's not full of fucking geniuses. And anytime you need any kind of real maintenance done in the military, they go to civilians. But luckily enough, I was able to use that background from the Army as a mechanic in the Army to slide into a dealership and as an apprentice. And of course, the dealerships where I learned everything. And then I used that to go to fleet maintenance, which fleet maintenance, if you want to do maintenance, is the place to be at, because you don't have to do a lot of heavy shit, but you still get paid pretty damn good. So yeah, I guess I will make a separate video for that, because this is already starting to get really long. And hopefully you guys you'll appreciate that, and I can give you some insight on how to get started in the maintenance without even fucking with the school. Because really, guys, you're gonna go to school for 2 years, pay 30 grand, and you're still not gonna really know much when you get involved. Most training that you're gonna get from any, you know, for working as a mechanic is just gonna be on the job, like the shit you run into on the job, you know. So that'll be the next video. Hope you got something out of this. I'm trying to come out of my slump here. I got to go back into the engines and whatnot and find something that I want to talk about. And then that'll help me spit out some videos for the next couple of days. Alright, so thanks for watching and peace. See y'all later.